Hey traders, TG Watkins here. It is December 18th when I'm recording this, and man, what a day. So I feel like we needed to kind of cover this and see what's going on here and talk about a few things. So obviously, the market just took a massive dump. And what's the reason? Well, FOMC. So this is kind of the craziness that can happen on FOMC days. Gotta love it, right? So basically, the idea is yes, they did cut a quarter, 25 basis points for interest rates, which was expected. But then Jerome Powell was a little bit on the hawkish side by saying, hey, we're only going to do 2 rate cuts in 2025. And he's like, even that is a maybe. So the market responded brutally with that. And basically, I think the idea is because if interest rates aren't going to come down as much as the market expected, then the market needs to reprice for different interest rates. So I think that's what's happening in addition to, the market just throwing a tantrum. Now, could we have seen this coming? Yes. Let me show a couple things. Now, I definitely didn't know that it was going to be nearly this big. Things were actually looking pretty good over the last week. We were expecting a pullback. We were expecting the market to be coming down. I just didn't expect it to be this large. And so if we look at things like the IWM, this is something that I've been talking to the Moxie traders and subscribers and stuff like this for, going on 2 weeks. Basically, around December 2nd is when we started seeing this stuff. And what you can see is price has just been underneath the 15-minute 50 the whole time, and price has been underneath the hourly 50 the whole time. You could even see the Moxie indicator was below zero the whole time. Right here was our Moxie indicator or Moxie price trigger on the hourly time frame. And really, at this point, it's like, okay, where's the bottom? We just got to kind of wait. Okay, where's this thing going to be? And, it just kind of kept falling. It failed the daily 21, and then today it failed the daily 50. So where do we go? Kind of hard to figure that out. We're just going to have to sit and wait. We are back at potentially larger term support. We're right back down to the monthly 10. I mean, so much for our new highs, right? And we're right back into this area on the weekly chart. So, yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. If you look at the RSP, this is the equal weight of the S&P, and you could see the same thing. Since December 2nd, when price got underneath the 15-minute 50, it has just been following the 15-minute 50 to the downside, and you can see the same thing on the hourly. So this is the thing that I've been talking to all of our subscribers and saying, hey, underneath the surface, the majority of stocks, the S&P 493, are moving down and have been pulling back. And I thought, hey, the NASDAQ is still basically at all-time highs. The S&P is basically flagging. And I was like, well, maybe this is going to be pretty good. We've got kind of rotation going on underneath the surface, and maybe once the market kind of figures itself out, it can go back up again. But instead, and this was one option that I told everybody that we need to be careful about, I said, this is either going to be a good thing or a bad thing. And the bad thing would be is if this bad breadth actually took the rest of the market down, and it kind of seems that that is what the case was, especially with the news. And you can see what this looks like here if we actually look at the breadth. So here's the 20-day breadth, 50-day breadth, and the 200-day breadth. That's how many stocks are over the 20, 50, or 200 daily moving average. And I've been talking about this since here, when the number of stocks over their 20-day SMA got to about 80%. That's about where things peak out. And then I was thinking, okay, we'll see if we can find a bottom in through here, and that didn't happen. And then we kind of got down here the last couple days, and now we are at 8% of stocks are over their 20-day SMA. That is massive. Now, the other thing is I was on the mic today, actually as this was happening, because my mic session was scheduled during Jerome Powell, so that's a great time. And before this really became that bad, like things were coming down, but before it got really bad, I was pointing out this. This was back in April of 2024, and you could see how breadth also came down significantly. And the only thing I was able to kind of point out at the time, because this was still a developing thing, was look at where the market bottomed. It was when the number of stocks above their 20-day SMA got to about 8%. Looks about the same spot. And then what that correlated to was about 30% for the 50-day SMA. We're even worse there on here. We're at 20%. So this is a really big move down. And then I don't exactly know what to make of this, where the 200-day is at down to 55%. I mean, at least back here, the 200-day was still up higher. So this was a pretty big rout, big move to the downside, and a lot of things have been touched. A lot of stuff got sold off too. So once again, Either this is a great thing because once the dust settles, this could be a really nice buy the dip opportunity, or this is going to be spelling something really bad for the foreseeable future, and I just don't know which one it is yet. And I will say we've had a lot of really good trades. In fact, if you look at TSLL, which is the leveraged ETF of Tesla, we actually sold 99% of it today, and we sold it up here for about, I think we were closer to 260%, so something around there, 260% gain on TSLL. And then we had Soundhound, and we had two positions on this. One position we put on down here, and we sold some at 217%. And we also put another position on about here, and depending on where you sold it, that was about 42 or 44% if I remember the exit. So we had a huge move on that one, and yeah, we got stopped out of a couple things. NRGV got stopped out of this one, so you can see that here. Got stopped out right there this morning, and then PSNL got stopped out of this one. You can see these are pretty small losses. We got in here, got stopped out there. So, small losses compared to those wins that we have. God, even a deck. We sold Deckers today too. Smaller one, about 26%, 26, 27%. And pretty happy about that. So we took our 2 full exits up there from our original entry. Yeah, just a lot of things are kind of like this. We are down on some, others are still fresh, and others were kind of waiting. So, for example, we are still in net. We're still profitable on that one. Let's see, it was about 26, 18%, so it gave some back on that one. And AFRM, I think this one kind of came down a little bit, but still profitable on that one. We got in about here, so 30% gain on that one. We already took profits at 40%. So, we're really doing just fine on here, and we have some cushion to work with this in case, depending on what the market wants to do. But there are still names like APLD that are still basically holding up. I wouldn't say that this is too bad when you think about it. Even though it's down a little bit, it's really kind of just in here. So I'm still going to say I'm bullish on this market. I just I'm kind of leaning towards that they needed to let some air out of the market and some things needed to get repriced. Part of the reason that I say that is because, if you look at names like DoorDash, they were way up here. Just like they were way up here. If you look at that on the weekly time frame, in through here, you can see here, weekly, monthly, you can see it was extended and extended, extended. And so I look around, I'm like, yeah, it's been a really, really strong market for the last few months, and especially since the election. And I think everything was just kind of long to the upside. Again, if you kind of look at the breadth internals, there was really kind of not too much room for us to go. Everything, 80% of stocks were over their 20-day SMA, and 70% of stocks were over their 50-day SMA. So we needed to probably let out some air. And I think we are definitely letting out some air, and I think that's what we're doing. So we could even see if we looked at the VIX or the UVIX, we could tell that this was building. Again, I didn't really know to what extent this was going to be, but we were definitely warning about it, because if you look here, you can see there's your Moxie price trigger, and then you can see price was getting over the hourly 50 right there, and then you could see we had price flag right into the 15-minute 50, and then based on that move of Jerome Powell, we had a huge move to the upside. So I would like to think eventually this is going to be a good buy the dip opportunity. This was a huge move to the downside. It's hard to still be short. Like, if you are short, great job, but I would be careful maintaining being short, because a lot of times people come in, money comes in, and they look at this as a buying opportunity. So definitely be careful on the short side. And the market, if you look at the RSP again, most of the market had already been pulling back for 2 to 3 weeks, basically since December 5th already. And this could be a little bit of a flush out. So careful on the short side. And I'd actually kind of look and see if this is going to be a buying opportunity at some point. We can't say yet. It's still too early, but I still see a lot of things that are doing okay. I just think we needed to let some air out of the market. So that's kind of what I'm looking at through there, and let's see where we go. And try not to be too early on the buy side. We just don't quite know what's going to happen yet. So let's give it a day or two and just kind of see what the market wants to shape up. Okay, guys. So hope you're doing well, and try not to damage yourself too much on a move like this, and keep your powder dry so that we can keep looking around for some good buying opportunities after this. All right, guys. Thanks again. We'll see you at the next one. Hey, TG here with Simpler Trading. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like or comment below. Also, make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you can stay up to date with my market analysis. Or you can join my free newsletter with the link in the description. Good trading, and I'll see you at the next video.